Hi, everybody. It is Kathy, and I love to be selling. Come on in, sellers. Come on in, come on in. And the topic that I'm going to be sharing with you today is about shocking news for eBay sellers. And it is shocking. And it's something that sellers need to be aware of because it's going to help you to get more sales, which is what I'm all about. That's why I love to be selling. But you need to be aware of this because you may need to do a course correction with how you're sourcing. And you also may need to do a course correction with how you're listing. And this can also affect your social media. And it could be why you've been seeing some slow sales the past couple months. Different sellers are reporting different things. My sales are actually up 10% because I've been sort of aware of what's going on the e-commerce landscape. But it was startling news this past Friday. And hang on, I've got a bit of a cough. Good to see everybody. If you don't know, I was out of town this past week in Florida, and it's quite cold today in New York. My body is like in shell shock. So this is what I wanted to show you if you haven't seen this. So hang on a second. Let me just. So this past Friday was very startling news from Amazon. And the reason as an eBay seller, I want to pay attention to Amazon, just like Amazon sellers want to pay attention to eBay, is that Amazon is such a large e-commerce retailer. So if something's going on with Amazon, yeah, it could be that it's unique to Amazon. For instance, their warehouse system is something that eBay doesn't have. But when it's something about retail sales, I want to pay attention. So if you're not aware of this, this past, let me just grab this article. Hang on a second. This past, I've got a bunch of things pulled up, you guys. Hang on, here we are. Amazon shares closed down 14% this past Sunday. This past Friday. It was the worst day for Amazon since 2006. If you're not aware of this, of course, I've got all these alarms going off. Amazon pretty consistently, when it reports its quarterly earnings, and all publicly held companies report their earnings quarterly, it's consistently up. It's up and up and up and up. And the past few years, as you know, online retailing has pretty much exploded. So their numbers have been extraordinary. Well, this past quarter, they were down, and they were down below what was estimated for them. Everybody's aware of the fact that retail has changed this past year. More brick and mortars are open. People are shopping in person. That's going to change people's shopping because in the previous couple of years, everybody's been staying at home and shopping completely online. So people were aware of the fact that retail numbers were going to shift a bit. And I know for the sellers that I work with my membership and my clients, and also my podcast, my YouTubes, my streaming, is just be aware of the fact, that shopping is changing, and keep an eye on your numbers and keep an eye on what's selling. Because something that sold, let's say, a year or two ago, and I actually brought my prop for you. Toilet paper. We can all remember this, right? This was like a hot commodity a couple years ago. Remember, like you go online and it was like, four rolls of toilet paper were $20. In fact, eBay put in price gouging guidelines because people were being so outraged with toilet paper. So clearly, retail has changed. But what was dramatic for Amazon is it was really down. It was down dramatically, and it was much worse than they thought. Now, there were extenuating reasons for this. Part of it was Amazon invested heavily in an electric car company that did not do well. So that was part of it. But they definitely talked about the fact that retail numbers were a big part of this. Let me just keep reading this because this is, so shares of Amazon closed down 14% on Friday after the company gave revenue outlook for the current quarter that fell short of Wall Street's estimate. It was Amazon's worst day since July 2006. And this is what you need to pay attention to. Amazon said Thursday it projects revenue between $116 billion to $121 billion in the second quarter, trailing the $125.5 billion average analyst estimate. So it's considerably lower than what they thought. Amazon's core retail business, and this is what we as sellers pay attention to, retail business has stalled as a flurry of online shopping tapers off amid the economic reopening from the pandemic. The company's operating expenses are increasing faster than its sales. Amazon invested heavily to staff up its warehouses and combat supply chain challenges, it's now facing rising inflation as well as transportation and labor costs. So these are things that eBay doesn't face. And that's why I wanted to give you a heads up. So eBay sellers, be aware that people's shopping habits are dramatically changing or shifting. So then we as sellers need to shift. But part of the reason for Amazon's falling so short is the cost of their doing business, which is the warehousing, the staffing, the shipping, everything is up and up and up. Amazon also has some of its own private label brands. It creates merchandise, and the cost of all of that has gone up and up and up with the cost of shipping. eBay, on the other hand, as a corporation and as a selling on eBay, eBay has been divesting itself, selling off the different companies, right? We know, first of all, with PayPal, that was sold off years ago. StubHub, that was sold off years ago. So eBay's been trimming, particularly with Jamie Iannone, the current CEO, and really focusing on its core business. Then what eBay's been doing, for instance, it announced in its past recent investors days, also in the spring seller update, that it's really doubling down on this collectibles with sports card trading. They're adding things like the vault, getting more casual sellers with adding a digital wallet, which is that you can accumulate your money and then spend it from that on things on eBay. But the thing is, sellers, for those of us that are full-time sellers, and also my wonderful part-time sellers that want to be full-time sellers to pay attention to, what Jamie Iannone has been consistently talking about is that they are selling non whatever like the most current thing is. Okay. What on earth does he call it? Hang on a second. I think non-new in season. That's what it is. So it's not necessarily the most current watch or purse or whatever. eBay's really doubling down on refurbished, on used, and yes, wonderful new with tags, but it may not be this month's. It might be last month's, and previous months. This is great for sellers that source from thrift stores, source from consignment shops, and even when you're sourcing in retail, what's called retail arbitrage, because you're buying things that are on clearance that for whatever reason aren't selling in that store, but that you see do have potential to sell on eBay. So eBay's strategy, which is contrary to what Amazon's strategy has been, is something that is really winning because of the fact that it is certified refurbished, non-new. Absolutely. It's not necessarily the thing that's like the newest thing in season. They're going more for collectibles. More unique items. Now, that being said, they're also going for high ticket. So non-new doesn't mean like bargain basement. It doesn't mean $5 items. It can mean very high ticket items. Look at what eBay's doing with the Authenticate program, because I was looking at it. At this. So they authenticate sneakers. If they're $100 or more, go into authentication. Bags and wallets, and it's men's and women's purses and bags. It's $500 and up. Watches now are in authentication. They're $2,000 and up. I don't think most of us are sourcing those. And then you've got certified refurbished. So you go, okay, for sellers that don't have, back to this number, $500 wallets and bags, that don't have $100 sneakers, and that don't have $2,000 watches, what do we do? Because this is where eBay's focusing. eBay's focusing there because those people come on and shop on eBay, and they are what eBay is calling enthusiastic buyers. They also shop in other categories. So then it's like, okay, they're coming in for high-end purses and wallets. They're coming in for high-end sneakers, but they're also coming in for certified refurbished. What other things might they be interested in? Then I'm looking at that eBay is very much working to attract younger buyers. And this is good for all of us. We want buyers of all ages, but you particularly, and this is true of every industry, by the way. I was watching baseball with my husband the other night, and they were talking about, I don't want to get too off the rails with this, but they were talking about some of the changes. If you're not aware of this, they're making some changes in some of the baseball rules. And the reason for it is they feel in sort of tweaking the structure of the game, it'll appeal to younger viewers. So all industries are doing this. So I go, okay, eBay, here I am, selling my items, going to my thrift and consignment, doing my retail arbitrage, maybe doing some wholesale. What kind of products are going to appeal to these younger buyers that eBay is attracting? I know my regular buyers and I love them and they're wonderful, but I also want to keep an eye out for products that are going to appeal to these younger buyers, because that's who eBay's working so hard to attract. Also, that's who's spending a lot of money on eBay. That means more sales for me. It also means it'll increase my shopping cart size, which we're always interested in. So that way, when they're buying one cell phone case, they'll buy the cell phone case and the pen. So with the younger buyers, you go, okay, so they're coming in for the high-end purses and wallets, and they're coming in for the sports card collectibles, also things like Pokemon cards. I mean, there's all kinds of collectible cards. What other things might these people be interested in? And absolutely clothing, which is something that many sellers start with. Why? Because we're cleaning out our closets, right? When you usually start selling on eBay, we're decluttering. So we're selling our shoes and our jewelry and our clothing, our sports equipment, maybe some small collectibles and home decor items. So then it's looking at what brands, what styles are appealing to younger. And by younger, I'm saying basically 40 and under. And if you are not 40 and under, or you're 40 and under, but maybe you're not into what's trendy, is a couple ways to do research on this. These are the two ones that are, to me, are the simplest. One, well, actually three. One, follow brand influencers. So people that are really hip and cool, that like the younger, basically 40 and under or 30 and under are into. And if you don't know, honestly, grab your nieces, your nephews, your cousins, your friends. Here in New York City, it's easy because standing online to get a coffee at Starbucks, or eating at a restaurant or walking down the street, I'll hear people talking about styles, brands, what they're wearing at my gym, what they're wearing this weekend. And that will help me. But a great one, and I just wanted to throw this out for research, is something like Anthropologie, which is super, super, super popular. Okay. It's got a lot of brands, super popular, well known, and it's also easy to find and research because they have a great website. So I know that Anthropologie is popular with men and women under 40. So then what do? I go on, and because that's who eBay is attracting to come and shop. And I want to be aware of their brands. So one, maybe they have a clearance at a local Anthropologie store that I might live near, or an outlet mall, or at the thrift store, or the consignment shop, and that I start to recognize the logos. To me, that's always been big. Like I've always sourced a lot of Under Armour. And I remember, I can spot the Under Armour logo like at 1,000 paces, is that you can spot those logos and you know where they are on the clothing. So I just wanted to give you a simple example of this. Hey, how are you, Chris? Northwest Missouri. Good to see you. Angela, South Florida. Yes, I just left such warm weather. I want to come back, Angela. Okay, great. So Chris, with the certified refurbished, what you should do is go to the eBay for Business page. There's a whole, and just message them. There's a whole process that the certified refurbished go through to become a certified refurbished seller. Otherwise, a great thing with certified refurbished, Chris is asking how to get certified, is to sell parts. And I've done that a lot. Coffee makers are one of my favorites. Is that sometimes you'll find great coffee makers and they're really heavy and sort of cumbersome to ship. But if you break them down for parts, you can make really good money. You can actually make better money breaking it down than selling it whole. But let me just show you Anthropologie. So hang on a second, because this is something that I've said, and this is kind of research I do with my members, I do with my private clients. So eBay is attracting younger shoppers like Anthropologie. Let's go learn some Anthropologie brands. So this is Anthropologie. And what I clicked on, so they've got, we've got dresses and clothing and shoes, and pick one, and again, you can knock this kind of research out in 15, 20 minutes. This does not need to gobble up a lot of time. if you're not aware of this, and this is in all kinds of blogs and just everything, athleisure, which is what it's called about, athletic leisure clothing, athleisure became enormously popular in the past couple of years because everybody's home, right? So even if they're streaming with their office, they only really have to dress from the waist up. This is true for the men and the women, as far as maybe the more formal attire, for offices that might require, ties or a more formal top. And on the bottom, you could wear jogging shorts and you can wear leggings and whatever. So athleisure like exploded the past couple of years because everybody's working at home. It has stayed strong. It is a very strong category. There are things from athleisure like the shorts and the leggings and the tops that you can sort of work and layer. And again, a great way to see sort of what styles are in and stuff is really look around in your neighborhood. Look around, when you're picking your kids up from school, or you're with your friends, is take a look at how junior high school is dressing. Take a look at if you're near a college campus, take a look at how the college kids are dressing. It's one of the great assets of living in New York City. I just walk down the street and I can sort of see what everybody's up to. So you hop over to Anthropologie and you look at athleisure and just start looking at the brand names. And this is what I did. Okay. So I'm going through this and I'm going, okay, Beyond Yoga, Daily Practice, Sweaty Betty, blah, blah, Sweaty Betty, Farley, Coral. There's all these great names. But the one that grabbed my attention was Beyond Yoga because it was right at the top. And then what you do is you hop over to eBay and you look at completed. So I don't even put in leggings, tops, nothing. Just put in the brand name and click completed. And this is not Terapeak. This is just search on eBay. And the reason I click completed when I'm doing search on eBay is it will show me what sold and what didn't sell. And what I'm looking for is a brand where there's a lot of green, because green means it's sold. And if you haven't done this, and this is maybe a tip for my newer sellers, but us more experienced sellers can fall into this, is that you'll click solds, and maybe there are 15, 20, 30 solds, and you go, oh, this is great, it sells, right? And you grab it, but you didn't do completed. So maybe there are 20, 30 sales, but there's like 100 that didn't sell. So then you need to go and look at the ones that sold and look at, is it the color? Like black sells, pink doesn't sell. Small sells, extra large doesn't sell. I mean, that's why completed is super helpful, because you really get a sense of how many listings finished and what percentage sold. And Beyond Yoga sells very well. I mean, I went and I clicked completed and I took a look at it, and there's some really nice data on that. Okay. So then what you do once you go, yay, this stuff sells, is, where are we? Here we go. So we're doing, let me see if this pulls through. Yes. Okay, good. It's what you're looking at very quickly. And on some sites you're able to do this and some you are not, is I'm looking to see if they're going to show me the logo. So I can spot the logo. And I am not seeing logo on this. Okay, it's cute, it's pink, but I'm not seeing logo. So, oh, and they're showing me what I might also like. Do you like this? They're trying to tantalize me to look at other things. Let's see if we can find a Beyond Yoga that will show me the logo. So hang on a second. Let's find another one. Sweaty Betty. I'm definitely going to check out that one too. It's cute. Hang on, let's find. Here we are. The Breaker Skort. Maybe that'll have a logo on it. I'm just going to click over. Yes, there's a logo. Okay, good. So hang on a second. Let me show you this. So right here. Okay. So now I see what it looks like. It looks like a lotus. I think that's a lotus. So anyway, I know what the logo looks like now. So when I'm in the store, or when I'm at the thrift shop, or when I'm at the consignment shop, or a lot of times these church sales, you're grabbing things and throwing them in a bag and you better move fast. If I spot that logo, then I know that's a pretty good chance that's Beyond Yoga sells well. So then I can go and flip and take a look at see the name inside of it. But that's super, super helpful. So Amazon's super down. And part of the reason they're super down, yes, is the electric car, but also because people shopping, their style of shopping has changed. Big part of Amazon's problem is they're heavily invested in the warehouses. They've got private label brands. There was one article I was reading about Amazon. They literally doubled their warehouses in the past couple of years, doubled. And I know this from Amazon seller friends because a couple of years back, when this whole thing started and we were all paying $20 for 4 rolls of toilet paper, is Amazon was really, really backlogged because there was so much shopping going on for what was deemed necessities like paper towels, toilet paper, that everything else was sort of thrown on the back burner. I mean, they just did like super fast scaling on the warehouse, which is not something that eBay was dealing with. What eBay was dealing with was all of us, selling, and then finding different ways to source. So Amazon's having a downturn now, partially due to the fact that people's shopping habits have changed. eBay's done a huge pivot with this emphasis on non-new in season, which is a huge help for people that thrift, consignment shop, do clearance out of stores, and even warehouse purchases, and also wholesale purchases. But to look at who eBay is attracting to the site, the younger shoppers. So if you've got certain niches, certain things that sell really well for you, I've got good friends that sell very high-end collectible, very high-end glass, and they're really good at doing research on it and finding out what it sells for. They also do vintage music boxes, things like that. That's great because that is really what eBay is diving into. I also have a very good friend who is a multiple 6-figure seller on more than one platform than eBay, but eBay is the primary platform, and they're doing tabletop. They're doing stuff for setting your table, for entertaining, because that is a category that has stayed strong even with changes, because people are still very much focused on the home, doing things in the home. So things like home decor, home entertaining, also we're going into spring, summer, outdoor dining, your pool, your garden, all of that is going to get strong on eBay. So always be thinking, yes, shopping is changing. Yes, Amazon took one heck of a hit this past Friday, but as an eBay seller, what can I do to pivot? What can I do to change? What can I do to keep my inventory desirable so that I'm continuing to get strong sales and that I don't fall into a sales slump or what Amazon has run into? And what I'm doing is my gift to you. This is my gift to the seller community. I am running a 1-day eBay summer camp for sellers. I've never done this. I'm so excited. This is going to be so much fun. It's 1 day only. It's going to be a 90-minute workshop. It is recorded, but you've got to be in camp to hear the recording, and it's only going to be up for a couple of days, but you need to join. So hop over to my website, ilovetobeselling.com, and you will see this banner, free eBay Seller Summer Camp, and sign up. You'll get a link to the Facebook group where everything's happening. You'll get a worksheet. You'll get a badge that you're in camp, but it's super, super fun. You'll love it. I have over 100 sellers are signed up already, so this is going to be great. And this is the kind of thing I cover in camp, because there's always going to be people that are like, oh, the sky is falling, eBay's blowing up or whatever. But there's always a way to succeed on eBay, always. The great thing about eBay is you can sell soup to nuts. eBay doesn't have a warehouse system. eBay doesn't have the huge overhead that Amazon has. And eBay's been able to pivot and really sort of continue to stay really strong. The thing is, how do I source? What to source? How do I do my listings? Because we all know that the listings have been changing lately. There's been changes in promoted listings. There's been a lot of changes. But how to deal with all these changes and keep my selling strong. And that's what summer camp is all about. I've got great content for my new sellers, so please come join if you're brand new. And also some more advanced content for my intermediate and my sellers that have been selling for a while, because as we all know, if we've been selling on eBay for a while, things always changed. And the way I stay successful is to know what those changes are, to know which ones impact what I'm selling, because it may not impact me. But if it does, if there's a big shift in what I'm selling, what can I do to change, adjust, twist, pivot, so that I stay successful and prosperous on eBay? Because that's what it's all about. Sharon, oh, I'm so glad. Yes, Sharon's going to be in camp. She said, I'm really looking forward to the camp. Me too. Yes, Paula, the shocking news was the huge drop in Amazon this past Friday. And if you listen to the replay, you'll catch that. And how eBay, certainly there's been shifts in the retail on eBay too. And I shared about that, which is how eBay is really doing the certified refurbished with the sporting cards, and how we as sellers can take advantage of that and tailor our inventory to some of these newer, younger shoppers so we keep our sales strong. But come join me for eBay Seller Summer Camp. It's free. It's next Monday, May 9th. I'd love to have you join me. The sign up is on my website, ilovetobeselling.com. Bye-bye, everybody.